I tell you exactly what I feel about this whole issue, it can cost our friendship, So I'm going to just end it here and whatever. People of God, I came to vent a little today. I want to vent because I'm not going to be part of a generation that has decided to be irresponsible. Basically, I want to talk about COVID-19 and resumption of primary schools, secondary schools, and tertiary institutions. What exactly is going on in the mind of our government when they ask civil servants to sit at home a bit longer because they don't want to spread COVID-19, and then they ask their children who do not know anything about social distancing. If you tell my 5-year-old, for example, that he shouldn't share his mask, or he shouldn't hug his friends, or he shouldn't play, I'm sure it's going to sound like Latin to him. So the government is saying literally that civil servants should sit at home so they can stay safe, and then their children should go to school and pick up COVID-19 and come and give it back to their parents at home. I don't get it. I don't get why we should sit in a system that is responsible to this extent. I don't get it. Too many things to talk about, too many things to say. The recent one about NIN registration in the middle of a pandemic, when people are trying to understand what's going on with their lives, are basically trying to understand the new way of life we have to live, trying to survive, cope. Businesses are going down the drain. People are unable to feed. People are dying, whether or not we like it, in America, all over the world, as well as in Nigeria. In countries where they have a healthcare system in place, COVID-19 has overpowered them. Now, we are lucky, blessed. We haven't even been able to explain why in Nigeria it's been a bit better for us. So somehow God has been faithful, and we are not dying in large numbers. Make no mistakes, the numbers you're seeing in the news is not as much as the real numbers. Make no mistakes. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Make no mistakes. People have either been infected without knowing because they were asymptomatic, or have been infected and thought that it was malaria, but thanks to God their immune system was able to overcome it. Or on the other hand, some have died while treating malaria, not knowing that they were suffering from COVID-19, while a few others were able to go and get tested and then go through the process of, I would rather call it therapy than treatment, because for now there's no known treatment for COVID-19. So in the middle of all of this chaos, the government suddenly sat down and decided that what was most important to it at this time is NIN registration. It suddenly became an emergency. So there are deadlines suddenly. There are no deadlines for fixing the bad healthcare system. There are no deadlines for fixing the bad transport system. There's no deadline for fixing corruption, for taking Nigerians out of poverty. There's no deadline for calling to book the number of people who have stolen this country and put us, almost sold us out to China. There's no deadline, but suddenly for the masses, there's a deadline to get NIN registration. So in the middle of a global pandemic, Nigerians are queuing up, fighting each other, pressing and pushing to get NIN registration so that their phone lines will not be disconnected. Priorities. I'm so sick and tired of keeping quiet and pretending that it's okay. You know what? I'm among a privileged few who knows people in a few places, and so it's easy for me to put a phone call across to one or two persons to get things sorted for me. How about those who are not privileged, who have to get to the registration offices by 4 a.m. in the morning and queue up till 5 p.m. in the evening before they can get their NIN registration, after risking their lives? Because while some people get away easily with the whole COVID-19 thing, some other people who have compromised immune system are not going to be that lucky. That's why everybody has to stay safe to flatten the curve. And if you fall among the percentage, this is another group of religious leaders. Oh God, guys, I'm a Christian. I'm a full unbeliever. Everything that I am is based on my spiritual beliefs, but I don't play daft religion. So there are a few of you who believe that COVID-19 is linked to a 5G network brought by the Antichrist, or the Americans, want to give us the mark of the beast, and that's why they are coming up with COVID-19 and coming up with vaccines. Shut up! Literally, these vaccines cannot even go around the Americans themselves at the moment. They are struggling and fighting for their lives. And you think that Nigeria is their priority? Bill Gates even said it's more urgent for us to fix our healthcare system than for us to get the vaccines down here. But your pastors are here telling you that no, it's because they want to make you. I'm just so sick and tired of how irresponsible we are as a country, as a people, and as a generation. It's got to stop. The government has got to be a bit more responsible, just a bit, for the sake of its citizenry. How dare you? After we found palliatives in people's houses and everything, and they're trying to now, I don't even want to go into the NSAS saga because this will take us a whole day. But with all that is going on, the government has the balls, probably because they want to occupy us so that we don't have the time to occupy the streets anymore in protest. They have the balls to send people to go and queue up in large numbers with a deadline to get a NIN registration that they're not going to use for anything. After making us get BVNs and, do biometric registration for SIM cards and all that. I'm so sick and tired. And we've all been quiet. But now it affects me directly. I'm a mother of 24 children, guys. A mother of 24 children is a huge, huge responsibility as much as it's a huge blessing. And now my children feel left out because they're at home while their classmates are going to school. So there's a burden on me to let them go to school under the current circumstances. So let me paint two scenarios to you before I leave here. The child who you're chasing to school, either because you don't want to look like you're the one who didn't send your child to school, or because you think you want to give them an education. So that child goes to school, gets infected by another child, comes home, infects the remaining children in your house, plus the parents. Now the kids may even survive it, because I think children have been luckier and have a stronger survival. But then they come and infect the adults at home. So God forbid the child brings it home and the mother and father dies from COVID, and then this child becomes an orphan. Or worst case, I've heard about children who resumed and within the first 2 weeks of resumption caught the bug and eventually died. What are we saying? How are we even making sense when the government says that adults should stay at home and observe social distancing, work from home, and then children should go to school? Have you seen the classrooms in government schools? Have you seen the classrooms in tertiary institutions? All these federal universities, hey, you have 100 people in one lecture hall. You mean they should all go back to school? Because we can't even figure out how to do online learning for them so that people can, the government can even begin to understand and get a hang of the situation properly before exposing its citizens. I'm so confused, tired, disappointed, exasperated, to say the least. I've always been a patriotic Nigerian, a firm believer in Nigeria. As many countries as I have traveled to, I've always known that home is back in my country. But guess what? I'm beginning to ask myself questions. Just maybe I should have a rethink about this patriotism, because the amount of craze, I don't understand it anymore. And this morning, sadly, I had to let my kids go to school. I had to let them go to school because we have to work within the precepts of the society. So school has resumed for 2 weeks. I've stayed back in fear. I've figured out things, and then the children are feeling left out, so I let them go to school. Remember, in my facility, there are at least 30 human beings. Now imagine my psychological state of mind each time when these children are going to school. So the driver who's driving them is coming from his house. Do I know who and who he has engaged with on his way to work? The kids in the school they are going to mix up with, even their teachers. We need to do better, man. We just need to do better. Because guess what? If we are going to be led by the blind, which is what I begin to call this government now, from state to federal level, if we are going to be led by the blind when we have eyes, and we then pretend to be blind just so that we can follow our blind leaders, then we are no better than these leaders. I think I'm going to take a break here because I'm then going to delve into politics, and they're going to come knocking on my door. But really, I want to state unequivocally that I think it is so irresponsible of this government to release children to go to school. And mothers, let's come together and think for our children. I'm thinking of getting private school tutors to come in and teach my children at home according to their classes. Like, there are other ways. Now only picking where they are alive, now go become president. So now only picking where they are alive, now if he learn for school. If we are going to put our children's lives at risk just so that they can go to school and bear the name of being in school as well, we need to think well and know what exactly our motive for sending these children to school is. Have a blessed day. Nigeria will be great again. Thank you.